Alright guys, I just want to take a few minutes and show you another way that we can prep our shoulders and just our core and our motor pattern for when we're doing pressing and pulling exercises. So what we're going to do is quadruped. What we mean by quadruped is just being on all fours. And we're going to do some arm and leg raises just to work on patterning how we rotate and how we create torque in the shoulder and in the hip and how we stabilize the core. So keep in mind, we always want to brace the core the same way. Everything stems from posture. Draw our belly button in, kegel, try and squeeze our butt cheeks together. And we're going to create torque in the hip and in the shoulder. With our rib cage down, we're going to extend tall. So if we're not creating these good, solid core positions as we're doing these movements, it's for nothing. So we're going to work on creating these solid positions and then moving in these solid positions. But the key also is then when you start doing your presses and pulls, we need to be doing things in the exact same way. So everything stems back to these same motor patterns. Everything comes back down to posture, squat, push-up, and a jump. And we need to do these prep exercises in the same way that we do the exercises. That way there's actual transferability there. So for this one, we're just going to start on all fours. We're going to get our shoulders back in their sockets. We're going to twist into the ground so your elbow pits are facing forward. That looks like how we would set up for a push-up. We're going to draw our belly button into our spine. Rib cage is down, and we're extending through that, trying to squeeze our butt cheeks. In this case, we're kind of twisting our knees into the ground to create that same stability in the hip. So our goal is to not have any spine movement here. So from here, what we're going to do is try and keep everything nice and neutral. I'm going to press my arm out and rotate up as I lift up as high as I can and pause. And then I'm going to come back down. I'm going to go to the other side. Rotate as I lift up and come back down. So the key is that I'm working on shoulder staying pulled back in its socket as I create that torque in it and lift. So what we don't want to see is reaching out and lifting up, and we don't care about lifting up without that rotation. So we really want that shoulder back. As soon as we lift, we're starting to rotate as we reach up. What we want this to transfer over to, everything we do in the gym that's out in front of us, neutral or flexed here, we're going to have that same rotation. But then when you're going to put up that dish up on the shelf or doing things, we want you to automatically shoulder back, create that rotation. So we want this just to be how your brain works. And this is a quick, easy way to bring awareness to it before our workout. So we can start challenging this position a little bit more. So we'll start just with the single arm raises. Hang out there. And then we can work into single arm and single leg raises. So we'll go with the leg raises first. The same goals apply. We don't want your hips shifting around, so we're going to stay nice and tight. We want your back to stay in one piece. We're going to lift up, squeeze that butt cheek, and come back down. So we can alternate. We can go on the same side. I like alternating because it really lets you know if you're shifting. If you stick to one side, you could get shifted over, and you could be doing your leg raises and you think you're neutral, but it's not until you come back to the other side that you really start to feel it. So alternating, just keeping that back perfectly flat, trying not to dump those hips out, and then coming back. So work on arms only first, control it, legs only. Then we can start working on opposite arm and opposite leg. So we'll pick up, we'll stay tight, draw your belly button in, rotate, hold, and then we can come back, go to the other side, draw in, stay drawn in as we do those. So those are great ways to prep firing the right muscles. Keep in mind, we see a lot of people use the terminology activation, prep, all of these words. There's no magic in this exercise. If you do these perfectly, but you don't use that motor pattern when we're trying to do our push-ups, when we're trying to do our presses, our jerks, our pull-ups, and everything, if we're not using the same motor patterns, we're not activating or prepping anything. So the key is the carryover. We're working on stabilizing and just retraining Every time we pick up our arm, we do this. Every time we extend our leg, we do this. We're retraining, stabilizing the core, stabilizing that hip and shoulder joint, and repatterning how we move, but it's got to transfer into stuff. All right, play around with it. See you guys soon.